Are you interested in what people are saying about you, your brands, and your competitors online? Well, I am, but just like doing my screen time or setting up some sort of Google alerts will not do a very fine job into making sure that I'm holistically understanding my brand sentiment. This is why I did a very cool setup of an AI social listening tool called Brand24. I very much think that you will enjoy their AI features and it's monitoring over 25 million online sources. Let's take it for a spin. So first we see this very cool dashboard, and I'm mainly interested in spikes. These are spikes in mentions, and if I'm filtering down on the sentiment, I can be like observing what is negative and what is positive. And naturally, that's human nature. I would be driven to just like figuring out what is going on in terms of negative comments. So I could be using filters, but yeah, it was actually a comment that I made. So this is something that I can definitely agree with and just like repost it in. So nothing like there isn't a brand crisis because there was a negative mention perceived. Cool. After that, like what is more interesting to me are just like the AI insights. So instead of like going through everything what is going on social media, I get this very cool AI generated reports, and what I learned the most from is just like this trend analysis and making sure that I'm grasping very relevant subjects. So that is super cool. Now in terms of analysis, we will dive a little bit deeper into that, because here what you have is literally your overall reach, your overall performance of whatever you are trying to do on social media. Like my one is just like reach for the number of conversations and reach. This is what I'm optimizing for, and you see that there are a couple of mentions that would make it like extremely interesting for me to just like start developing conversations with these people, because they might be new potential influencers in the space. Now, as I'm talking about influencers, check this out. I will go and do the AI demo later on, but as for the influencers, what is super interesting here is that you can monitor this across platforms and you see all the major stats here, which I think it's really important. So for example, I could do a collab with my ex-boss and I definitely want to check this guy out. This is something super interesting. Now, if you don't want to go and like do a little bit of a feature by feature deep dive, you can literally ask questions in AI Brand Assistant, which is super interesting. So let's go with who are the top influencers. Okay, this is a very interesting analysis. There are a couple of clients that I work with, my ex-boss, but I do see like a couple of people that I should be reaching out and just like seeing if there is something that we can do together, which is very interesting. And this is one is especially useful if you are doing some sort of influencer campaigns. Then you can monitor here like what was the performance of their work. What is like even cooler is when you are just like doing the comparison between you and, for example, your competitors. For attention, I just did a funny one here. Hi GTM partners, love you, but I will use you for this demo because it's just like something which reminds me so much on similar web, but just like immediate points for improvement. So what is really interesting about this one here is this index. What is this type of, whether this type of mentions by these brands worth, right? So you see that they are higher than I am, and I have to figure out what is that. But yeah, in terms of being famously obnoxious on social media, based on these criteria, I think that I'm doing like a fine job in making sure that we are across platforms. So that is super interesting if you are just like in heavy competition with somebody else. But yeah, this setup was a little bit of a fun exercise that I did. But yeah, nevertheless, let's go and monitor the resources next. Resources are super interesting because, for example, I'm very active on LinkedIn and I do Substack a lot, but you know, notifications, red alerts, like everything gets super distracting. So this is very interesting for me to see how my brand is being talked about, maybe in Y Combinator or like even on Miro. That was a surprising one, right? So it tracks more than social media. This is what I wanted to tell you here. Now for the email reports, you can set this up like however you want, either daily, either weekly or something like that. But I just like to keep in touch with this type of mentions daily, because then I can do like a little bit of value commenting, which is cool. Now you have more advanced features which are in beta now, but I definitely love this one because it is just like something that I would be extremely interested in. So you see where you are being talking about, right? So this is the geographical analysis. Maybe we should like filter this on mentions, but also reach is very interesting. I will probably include that in my media packages because this is a very cool looking map. What is like even cooler for me are hot hours, and let me just like adjust this to my time zone. So okay, apparently that's Warsaw. Hi Poland. But yeah, we are in the same time zone. So you see here when you are getting the majority of reach, interactions, or either mentions, right? So this is how you want to optimize your social media presence. I will definitely not be online at like 5 a.m., but maybe just like these afternoon spikes is something that I should be talking about. And then you have emotional analysis. So I was like really surprised by this discussed, but yeah, this is just like the overall monitoring of this. What is like really interesting here, if I exclude neutrals, right, you will see that if I just like do this type of monitoring, that what is really unfortunate about my brand is because GTM Strategist is also like a very conversational word. So I get a bunch of like those type of insights for job, like what is going on in the arena. So, but yeah, I think that I can live with this one. But yeah, how I naturally consume this product is that I literally get email alerts. So these are email reports that are being sent. And what is super cool about this is because it's so visual, and if you don't have the time to really deep dive into it, is you can play around with AI brand assistant, and it's a very, very, very cool feature. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this setup and would like to take Brand24 for a spin, you can do that within free trial. It has a 14 days free trial, so you can do the setup for your brand and see if it works well for you as well. And make sure that you use the link in the video because you will get a 10% discount in case you decide to buy this. Thanks for watching. Ciao.